Chapter 6 from my book, A Fish in Water Athirst, A Deep Down Star. Let's dive Waikiki right now. My longest swim offshore culminated in a deep dive one afternoon as I practiced the prayer of the heart, a yogic, yoga from the Sanskrit literally means divine union, meditation, which is closely allied to today's most popular forms of meditation, including self inquiry, loving kindness, zazen, vipassana, and kriya yoga. Having carefully practiced these techniques, I settled on Kriya about a decade ago and found it not only universal, but extremely helpful. I began my long swim just watching the reef life while I practiced my mantra. As I went along, I became more and more absorbed in this simple prayer, the prayer of the heart. I saw below me a drama playing out in sand and coral, and I watched from some distance. After about an hour, I found I'd come out farther than ever. The sea was crystal clear below me. The bottom only appeared to be about 10 feet deep. I would learn later that this optical illusion was the result of the water's clarity and the flatness of the sand far, far below. A few boats zoomed by. This was Waikiki, after all. But for the most part, my world was silent, except for the Pacific sounds of laughing, snorkeled waves. Having come about a half mile offshore, I decided to test the depth. Treading water slowly, breathing deeply, I prepared for a dive. After a while, a police boat motored up to let me know I was too far from home. "One more dive," I said. The boys in blue stopped shouting and motored off. I'd plunged all the way to the bottom a few times that afternoon as I made my way offshore, and it had gone deeper than 15 meters. The water below was about twice that depth, I knew. I had brought a hand line with me to test the depth. I dropped the lead down, 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 till it penetrated into the sugar-colored sand. I held the line at the middle of the wave crests, which were about 2 meters in height. Marking the depth with a bobber, I stored the plumb line in my pocket so that I could make an accurate measurement later when I returned to my apartment. I had dived once and failed to reach the bottom. Nonetheless, I had gone deep enough to notice a huge starfish resting on the fine sand in the middle of an expansive aquamarine flat. The water was clear enough that I could make out the markings of that large starfish from the surface. I centered myself over the top of that lonely star, and as the last boat disappeared toward Diamond Head and civilization, I took several deep breaths while praying my prayer rhythmically. "Jesus, I trust in you." I prayed like that for several minutes, until I knew intuitively and yogically I had absorbed a sufficient amount of oxygen and prana into my bloodstream to make it to the bottom and back. I shot down quickly, kicking with both fins and pulling with both arms. Clearing my ears at about 20 feet, I continued along till I was halfway to the bottom. I cleared my ears again and then pulled myself deeper, as much by pure willpower as by the thrust of my fins. Now as deep as I'd ever been, I could feel the pressure of atmospheres on my ears and lungs, and I focused my whole being on the starfish just ahead. Somehow I knew I would be able to reach it. My ears felt a lot of pressure again, but I knew that if I cleared them one last time, I would lose too much air. I decided to keep rushing forward. Sprinting the last stretch, I struck the bottom with my hand and grabbed the starfish triumphantly. Quickly I spun around, placing my feet on the sandy bottom. I kicked off hard. A billow of fine sand followed me for several seconds as I shot fast toward light and air. My lungs were burning. Soon I knew I would be able to break through the rumbling waves. I pulled hard with one hand and kicked with both fins. As I moved toward the light, the pressure on my lungs, ears, and frame gradually dissolved. I was hungry for air. Finally, my head broke through the luminous surface and I inhaled deeply. Feeling great relief, I pulled the large starfish out of the water, admiring its simple geometry and shimmering shades of wet gold. It is worth noting here that Kriya yogis learn to visualize a star shape during meditation as they draw prana up into the highest chakras, especially the Agya chakra, or third eye, gate of divine intuition. Gradually, advanced yogis learn the secrets of the meditation masters as they gain the power to pierce the five-pointed star of the Agya chakra in transcendental ecstasy, samadhi, divine union, the same that all the great saints have achieved. For a liberated yogi, this process becomes routine, perpetual. Yogananda's Kriya Yoga brings peace, prosperity, and healing power through its dutiful and proper practice. It works like mathematics. Now that I was at the surface, I thought of the star shape I had learned to visualize in meditation, and holding my starfish, I prayed a silent prayer of thanksgiving as I watched the broad sea stretch out before me in all directions. The sound of the waves became a quiet mantra as I gently released the star back into the clean, cool depths. From the surface, I watched with some awe as my starfish spun, sinking slowly toward the sand. Smiling as it sank, I saw it kiss the sand, giving off a tiny puff of silt. That star had been the sole witness of my success, and I felt as free as it appeared to be where it lay dreaming deep dreams upon the ancient and pure Pacific sands. I had come a long, long way for that little star of wonders. Back at the apartment, I measured my line, discovering I had broken my personal record by about 10 meters, and I'd done it solo after a long swim. I was glad that I had been able to use this simple yogic practice to move fluidly and confidently in the deeps. And I gave thanks to that source that is in all of us. O Source, you are the sole power that guides us in this adventure of life. In the sea of your sacred presence, we abide, all stars. Thank you for enjoying this reading. Look for other chapters that have already been posted and more to come from this book and my latest project, 1, 2, 3, Meditate, and enjoy the day. Please don't forget to subscribe and to like and share. Blessings.